Dear student, welcome in this session Achieving SDG by 2030. It's a series, and in this session we are looking into SDG 5. So what is SDG 5? SDG 5 is on gender equality. If you look into globally, it has 9 global targets with 7 indicators. When we talk about gender equality, achieving it, empowering all women and girls, this is about ending all forms of violence, ending trafficking and sexual exploitation of women and girls, recognizing and valuing unpaid care and domestic work, giving emphasis on the importance of full and effective participation in equal opportunities for leadership at all levels of decision making in political, economic and public life for women. So let us have a look into what are global targets and indicators to take care in this goal. But at the same time, we need to understand before starting that achieving those target indicators, what are our challenges when we talk about gender equality? Globally, what we observe at different level, women are among the most vulnerable to environmental degradation, especially when you look at environment that climate change, especially in climate change, the role they played. So, because of that, they are most vulnerable to environment degradation. So, we need to recognize their role played by women as a custodian of biodiversity and communities' well-being. They have faced a lack of access to land, credits, agricultural inputs, market increase, market. So that makes women an increase in vulnerability to extreme, unexpected, unpredictable climate events. So we need to support equal access in land, credits, agricultural input, output, product, that strengthen society to make a more sustainable, not only for their family, for themselves, but to their family and to the community. We know the role they play. At the same time, what we observe across the world, women are subject to cultural, legal, political and financial bias. They are preventing from building their own resilience. So, we need to put in place the gender-friendly laws, instill a culture of equality, empowering them and make them to become powerful agents of any changes. So, when we look into the different target indicators, when we talk about the first target 5.1 listed as follows, discrimination, ending all form of discriminations means we need to introduce legal framework, we need to promote, enforce such kind of legal framework in proper place and monitor equality and non-discrimination on the basis of gender. Again, we need to eliminate all form of violence against all women and girls in different places. It may be public, private. Even we have to look into trafficking and sexual and other type of exploitation. So, looking into that means proportion of equal partner women girls is 15 years, then different the rate of such kind of violence need to be looked into. These are some of the indicators. Harmful practices needs to be eliminated. like when you talk about harmful practices, child marriage, early marriage, forced marriage, female genital mutilation. So, we need to, from time to time, we need to set the density, that percentage of those women who are suffer because of such kind of harmful practices. Okay, these are the indicator, like in terms of proportion. Okay, we need to recognize the value the unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure, and social protection policies. And at the same time, promotion of shared responsibility within the household and the family as nationally appropriate variable depend on the nation. So, we need to look through the proportion of time spent on the unpaid domestic and care work by the gender, age and location. Right? 5.5 target is listed as ensuring women's full and effective participation, equal opportunities for leadership. This is very much important at all levels of decision making. It may be in political, economic and public life. So, to look into this progress, of course, their percentage of their community in different government organizations and different sector wise you can look into, and you can look into the decision making bodies, that percentage we need to look into that. So, say for example, national parliament, proportion of seats. Ensuring universal access to sexual and reproductive health, reproductive rights, which is agreed in accordance with the Program Action on International Conference on Population Development. So, ensuring access to sexual and reproductive health and reproductive right, that also need to be looked into, monitored through different indicators. So, that needs to be looked into percentage wise. And for example, whether they have uninformed decision regarding sexual relation, contraceptive use, reproductive health care. Then when we look into globally, number of countries that have certain laws and regulation as per their needs, that also needs to be looked into. When you talk about reform, undertaking reforms to give women equal rights to any resources, economic resources, land ownership, property, financial services, inheritance, natural resources, that should need to have as per accordance or as per accordance with national laws. So, that also needs to be looked as an indicator, a proportion of total agricultural population with ownership or secure right over agricultural land by gender, and the share of women among that owners, right bearers of agricultural land by time of tenure. So, in the same way, we need to globally we need to look into how many countries they have such kind of laws and policies program. Enhancing the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote empowerment of women. That's also we need to look into the proportion of individuals who own such kind of technology. We need to adopt and strengthen some policies that enforceable legislation for the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls at all levels. So, we need to look into the globally, we need to look into the proportion of countries with systems to track and make public allocation for gender equality women's empowerment. So, if we look into the progress, looking into different the targets, say for example, when we talk about legal framework on gender equality, then early marriage, right, it is progressing marginally. So, we need to accelerate the progress, right. When we talk about women leadership, it still is stagnant. When we talk about technology, it is already target achieved. No. When you talk about gender responsive budgeting, that's also marginally progress. Certain I know, for example, when you talk about equal economic right for women, data are insufficient. That means most of the countries are not able to follow such policies program. So, if we look into the global progress based on 2024 UN SDG goal progress report, the dismantling of discriminatory laws is wherever possible. It is very encouraging, but if you look into the gaps, still gaps persist, especially in land right. As per the data from 120 countries, now their progress from 2019-2023, 56 positive legal reform that focus on removing discriminatory laws and establishing legal frameworks to advance gender equality, right. Then 22 reforms centered on equal rights to employment, economic benefits, 18 on stopping violence against women. This reform that we are talking about, which is from 120 countries, that includes lifting restriction on women working in specific sectors, guaranteeing equal remuneration for work of equal value and prohibiting marital rape. Still gaps is there. Okay. Harmful practices are declining, but not at rates keeping up with population growth. Still practicing, because this is related to linked with your traditional and age old traditional norms. So, in this context, when you talk about child marriage and female genital mutilation that violate the right of girls and that have lifelong consequences, globally if you look at that, an estimated 640 million girls and women were married in childhood, and unfortunately our country 1/3 in India alone. 1 in 5 girls was married before 18 today compared to 1 in 4 in 25 years ago. 68 million child marriages were averted in this period. Okay. When you talk about legislature, that women participation as a leadership, from you talk from legislature to corporate boards, women have made insufficient gains in leadership. For example, when you talk about political participation, as of in 2024 January, women occupied 26.9% of seats in national parliament, which is 22.3% base year 2015. Only 6 countries had 50% or more women in the lower or single chamber, like Andorra, that is in Andorra, Cuba, Mexico, Nicaragua, Rwanda and United Arab Emirates. 2 lower chambers now have no women members, Oman and Yemen. It used to have 5 in 2015. So, when you talk of local government, women occupied 35.5% of elected seats in 2023. So, in this also gender quotas determined the progress. When we talk about global employment, women hold 40%. Of that, 27.5% are managerial position in 2022. Still the same is going than that same was in 2016. There is parity in managerial roles, that take 176 years. If we look into this progress rate, it will 176 years to progress well in certain country, right. Globally, if you look to increase is only 2.8 percentage point in the last few years. When we talk about heavy burdens on unpaid domestic care, distress, women poverty and inequality. On an average, each day women spend, as you know, 2.5 times more hours on unpaid domestic care work than men. So, here also we have seen regional disparity. For example, it is 5 times more in Northern America and Western Asia compared to about 2 times more in Oceania, Europe and Northern America. These differences are primary maybe because of regional differences among responsibility women. When we talk about women's empowerment in sexual and reproductive health decision, it remains restricted globally, though in some places, regional disparities in some places progression well. If you look from the data from 69 countries, 56% of the married or in union women aged 15 to 49 can decide on their sexual and reproductive health and right. That ranges from 38% in sub-Saharan Africa to over 80% in Europe. So, when we look into the global data, now the progress so far, the rate we are progressing, if we look this rate, it would take another 40 years for women and men to be represented equally in national political leadership go in this current pace. Okay. That is 2015 it is 22.5%, it is 26.2% in 2022, right. More than 1 in 4 women 15 to 4 years have been subjected to intimate partner violence at least once in their lifetime. So, these are some of the progress so far made, and some of more look into different targets. For example, when you look into when we look into early marriage, 1 in 5 young women are married before their 18th birthday, right. So, if we look into this phase, it will take 300 years to end child marriage, the present phase we are looking into. And it may take to 96 years to close gaps in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws. So, these are some of the what I can say highlights which we need to improve in this line. This way, that shows that the world continues to lag in pursuit of gender equality. By 2030, all the harmful practices are decreasing, but not at a rate keeping it with population growth. We have to look into that. Then, strong and sustained commitments to changing bias social norms, eliminating harmful practices, abolishing discriminatory laws are urgently needed. In the same times, we need to enhance women's roles in leadership and decision making, and adequately scaling up investment in gender equality on different levels, national, regional, global scales should be taken as top priority. Then what about our country? To measure the performance of this goal of gender equality, we have 9 national level indicators which is identified to capture. These indicators have been selected based on the data available in our country, and we have different schemes, programs to take care of gender equality. We are frequent, we know, we are all well aware about Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme, Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya scheme, Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana scheme, Pragati Scholar scheme for girls, Mudra Yojana, Women Helpline scheme, Janani Suraksha Yojana, One Stop Center scheme, Shakti Sharan. So, this scheme play an important role in achieving our progress of gender equality. When we talk about Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme that aims to generate awareness and improve the efficiency of welfare services intended for girls. This scheme was introduced in the year 2015 with a major aims of improving the child sex ratio, ensuring gender equality in women empowerment, prevent gender bias sex selective girls that elimination, ensure survival and protection of the girl child, encourage education and participation of the girl child. In the same year, we introduced Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, Girl Child's Prosperity Scheme, with an objective to encourage families to invest in education of girl children and save for their marriage expenses. Mudra Yojana, which was introduced in 2015, provide loans up to 20 lakh to the non-corporate, non-farm, small micro enterprises. When we talk about Janani Suraksha Yojana, that was introduced in 2005, with an aim, a safe motherhood intervention under the National Health Missions, reduce maternal neonatal mortality by providing institutional deliveries among 4 pregnant women, integrating case assistance with delivery and post-delivery care. The Shakti Sadhan scheme recently introduced in 2022. This is an initiative which aims at strengthening interventions for women's safety, security and empowerment. When you talk about, which is very, aware all of us, Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya 2004, which was introduced in 2004, it provides access and quality education to girls especially from disadvantaged group of girls in the age group of 10 to 18 years. One of the schemes which was introduced in 2014, the Pragiti Scholars Scheme for Girls, awarded to meritorious girl students taking admission in AICTE approved technical institution and courses, degree and diploma, so that technical field they can be strength giving job. In 2015, Women Health Line Scheme was introduced that provide 24 hours immediate and emergency response to women affected by violence through referral linking with appropriate authorities, such as this police, one-stop center, hospital. And through this scheme, information about women-related government scheme programs across the country given through a single uniform number. We have one-stop center scheme 2015 introduced in this year, 2015, to provide with an objective to provide integrated support and assistance under one roof to those women affected by violence, to those in distress, wherever, any spaces, it may be public space or it may be private space. So when we look into the different targets and indicators, and based on some of the targets we have identified, right, you will see the SDG index score of union territories and states, the score they are having. Nagaland is highest among the states and our country's average is 49. Nagaland 74, top among the state, followed by Mizoram with 69. When you look into union territories, Lakshadweep with 65, top, right. So if you look into different targets, you will see in this table. I encourage you to look into SDG India Index 3. It is available in that link is available at Niti Aayog website. Here you just see in certain area we are lacking behind. You just see how changes are happening. So we need to work more. But in case of northeastern India, you will see how the color of map is changing. The front runner, there are certain states are in front runner, right? Certain states, only 2 states are in aspiring, when it comes into from if you look in 2021, how many states are under red and how many are in yellow, but here red and the yellow is more or less same. So, we in certain area we have to work, we need to improve, we will look into local area. Okay. So, here if we look summarize our country's status, you will see the sex ratio at birth, that is female per 1000 males, it is 929. When we talk about that ratio of female to male earning regular wage salaried input, it is 0.76%. When you talk about ratio of female to male labor force participation, it is 0.48. When you talk about married women that have their demand for family planning met by any modern method is 74.10%. It is 220 among every 1000 person in managerial position are women. 53.90% of women on mobile telephone they themselves use in the age range of 15 to 59 years. When you talk about operational landholders, 13.96% are female. Right. When you talk about that 3 household decision which is identified, 88.7% of married women participated in household decision, right. But the wages of casual laborer, this is also proportionately increasing. The women self-help that self-help groups, they have self-help groups, very common in India. In bank link, if you look into percentage, women self-help group, it was 88.92%. Now, in 23-24, it is 97.53%. When we look into statewide, when we are looking into sex ratio, 14 states in the 4 Union territories have surpassed the national target, with that Tripura having the highest sex ratio at birth with 1028 females in among the states. When we talk about wage gap among regular employees, here you will see Rajasthan has the highest female to male wage ratio, that is around 0.91. When talks about female labor force participation rate in India, as I told you, as we have seen there in that photo, 0.48% was in 2023, and among the state, ratio of female to male is highest in Himachal Pradesh with 0.89%. Okay. So, then when we talk about women in managerial position, Nagaland among the states with 26, okay, and Delhi 21 among the Union territories. Okay. Nationally, we know nationally it is 10% out of every 1,000. When talk about family planning decision, right, in that Andhra Pradesh has performed the best with at 93.5%, while Manipur, no, I don't know how it is happening, is the worst performer at only 24.7%. When looking into operational land holding, Meghalaya has the highest rate because operational 34.3%. Right. When we are talking about women owning mobile phone, that Madhya Pradesh has the lowest with 38.5%. But when it comes into highest is 91.2%, that is in Goa. Looking into women participation in household decision, Nagaland at 99.2% is the closest to the national target of 100%. So, these are some of the performance of different states So, when we look into that, in certain area gaps exist, unexpectedly in some state also the gap exists. So, we need to improve, we need to strengthen, we need to effectively implement those existing policy and the program at different level. So, dear student, in this session we have looked into what are the different targets and the indicators. Now, goal number 5, gender equality, global target indicators. What are the situation as per UN SDG report 2024 across the world in brief. And we also have looked into the different schemes, program which is introduced in our country, and because of those schemes, what are those schemes? We have looked into that, and through that scheme the performance of different stats, and we are able to understand that at different level we have to strengthen those scheme implementation strategy. Everyone should play important role. So, as student of this course also look into that, we need to play an important role as an ambassador to aware the people, to aware different stakeholders to improve our progress and to achieve the target timely. Thank you very much.